Speaking of getting started, this is the official opening for our webinar on how to use the mini poster brain change awareness set. So for those of you who have it with you, you could actually pick it up and take a look. I'm actually looking at the one page here that has the listing of what the 15 posters are. Now, you will notice that many of the posters are put into pairings. Wonder what that's about. So one of the very first things we could do, just really simply, is take a look at this front page and wonder why they're in pairs. So I'm going to ask you guys that. I wonder why, all but the first one, what is dementia? All the rest of them come in pairs. I wonder what that's about. Anybody have a thought about that? So for instance, what is dementia is a single one. Okay. But then when we talk about the next category, which is, that idea that dementia is an umbrella term, which is one of the first things we mention on the what is dementia. It is a syndrome, a collection of symptoms, not a specific diagnosis. And we show you an umbrella. Now look, we expand on the umbrella. And here's the one that came with it in that combo. So let's see. First, that's number 2. And then we have this. So I'm going to ask the group I have here as panelists, how are these two connected in a way that this one, what is dementia, is not connected? How are these two connected in a way that this one and these guys are not connected? So it's a comparison question. And you all out there, if you have thoughts or ideas about that, Rachel is super good at keeping up with chat. So this first one, what is dementia? Got 2 columns there. What are the 2 columns there, Christine?
It is not, and it is.
Okay, so we have a comparison. It isn't, it is. And right above that, what do you see above that? Little words.
Dementia, neurodegenerative change equals brain failure.
Okay, so we have dementia equals neurodegenerative change equals brain failure.
Mm-hmm.
So what's that word in the middle?
Neurodegenerative.
I went to the master's program at Duke to be able to say, that's the one, that's the doctor word, but it's also an accurate word. It means the neurons, the things that make your brain work, the neurons with the connectors, they're falling apart. They're coming apart. They're dying. They're shriveling. They're shrinking. They're dying. They're not working. So the word dementia is really another word for neurodegenerative change, which is another word for brain failure. Now, on that page, we have the do's and the don'ts. It's not, and it is. So, Rachel, what did you notice it isn't? What are some things that it is not?
Well, my favorite on that list is that it is not contagious.
Oh, unlike this COVID thing, it is not contagious. Even if it is something about viral load in your brain, you can't get it from somebody else. It's what your brain is able to tolerate in the world around us. Now, we don't know what all the kinds of things that cause dementia is, but we know you can't catch it from somebody. But I also know I've been involved in care long enough and hard enough and extremely enough that there are times when I wonder in a moment if, oh my God, am I losing my mind? Because basically what we're talking about here is my brain starting to fail me. And the answer probably is, well, it's not dementia, but it might be something you should be interested in, Teepa. Maybe problems with sleep or problems with stress or your own immune system or maybe your own well-being, what you're eating. All right. So, Christine, what have you got over on the other side? what is it? What kind of thing strikes you over there?
A syndrome, a collection of symptoms, not a specific diagnosis.
And so if you hear that somebody's been diagnosed with dementia, what does that then say to you?
That it means a lot of things. It's a collection of a lot of different symptoms,
So
not just one thing.
Yeah. Is somebody using the word diagnosis accurately or inaccurately if they say they've been diagnosed with dementia?
Not correctly.
Oh, well, that's not accurate.
And not
It's a
accurate.
syndrome. Yeah. So they actually haven't been diagnosed with dementia. They've been told they have symptoms that fit under this umbrella. What they're experiencing and what we can see about what's going on for them, it fits under this umbrella. Yeah. Anything else strike you here? Oh, let's look at the big wording here. Why do you think that's in a big box? Dementia affects your entire brain and how you take in information, how your brain guides and runs your body, your emotions, your thinking, your reactions, and your responses.
That's a pretty important takeaway.
Oh, so that's a pretty important message. So, okay, everybody, how did I just use that poster? What did I do with that poster?
You AELC'd it.
I got you guys to look at this poster and go through a little quote unquote training lesson with me. I did a real quick little training lesson. It was about a 5-minute session, maybe a few minutes less. And what I got us thinking about is, what did your brain just take in? What else was I sort of figuring out when I was doing it?
You wanted to know what we were noticing first. What stood out to us, and maybe why that stood out to us.
So I'm sort of looking at what you're bringing to the table. And Christine read that. Interesting thing. She read that's a syndrome, a collection of symptoms, not a specific diagnosis. And when I said, well, you've been diagnosed with dementia, what did it mean she didn't actually pick up on? What didn't she catch? Even though I said, so you've been diagnosed with dementia.
That's not a specific diagnosis. It's not accurate.
She didn't actually get that. I had to actually reinforce it because her brain was just saying, oh, yeah, it's not a specific diagnosis. I said, and you've been diagnosed with dementia.
Yeah. And how many times do we hear that?
Oh.
Somebody has a diagnosis of dementia.
And so, what does that make you want to do with these two then? Right away, what have I got your brain interested in?
The next step.
Learning
more.
Let's look at what else that might have done. I had a little group of you. I'm wondering how many of you out there in the internet area are curious about anything that we talked about on that page, because I haven't been following the chat. So I'm really curious, as I show you this, what does it allow you to do that otherwise you might not feel comfortable doing? Because I had a conversation with Christine and Rachel, and now you've had a chance to look over the poster. Anything else that's coming to your mind here? I'm going to point out the one where we have something in bold and we have something in italics. So I'm going to hold it up here. And Rachel, tell me something you see in bold print.
Right off, I see the word all.
All. Okay, give us the rest of the sentence around that, if you would.
Affecting all aspects of life: thinking, memory, vision, language, actions, emotions, and skills.
Cool. What do you see that's in italics?
I'm seeing commonly, and I see risk.
Okay, so tell me what the commonly sentence is.
Commonly seen as we get older. yet not normal.
Huh. Those two phrases, what do they do for you as you think about them? You too, Christine, and everybody out there, those two phrases. Why on the poster would we have bolded all and used italics on commonly, do you think?
Those are things that our eyes will be drawn to, very specific. And a couple people in the chat haven't gotten their posters yet, so you showing them on the screen is very helpful.
Cool.
And
speaking of comments, someone, actually it was John, said it is not is always a relief when talking to groups of families.
Yeah, so common, but not always. So this idea that not everybody's going to get dementia, this is not something that everybody does. It is something that is common, but it is not necessarily something that is universal. Just because your family member has it doesn't mean as you get older, and it doesn't mean what you're looking at is necessarily even dementia. But it has some of the symptoms. So symptoms, it's sounding like maybe, but maybe not. Now, it affects all aspects of life. Why did we emphasize all in that one? What do you think that's about? Why all these things are going to be affected? All aspects of life. What's the most common thing people say when they say dementia and Alzheimer's? Memory. What else is it going to bother?
Your thinking.
What else?
This is helping folks realize it's all aspects, vision and language and actions and emotions, and not just memory.
Yeah, so I could say, when I look at this, if I'm with someone who's a little more knowledgeable, I could say, well, what do you mean it affects vision? Oh, wait a minute. Let's go to poster number, how about poster number 5? And 4. Let's do 5 and 4, 4 and 5. Okay, so let's start with 4. I'm going to hold it up so everybody can see it because not everybody has it. And Amelia will make it. I'm trying to talk, so it will put me in spotlight mode, but it likes Christine better than me. I think she must be prettier. What can I say? Because we know she's not. Oh, don't say that, Teepa. That would be a problem with your prefrontal cortex and your impulses, which are deep in the human brain, deep inside that brain. So now let's take a look at this picture. Okay, as you look at this picture, what does this poster do for you that maybe the other poster didn't do? Let's take a look at this one. I'm going to try.
Sharon was saying that this is helpful with the all, because one of her clients is fixated on memory.
Yeah, so if we just think it's memory on that other one, what we could be doing is putting demands on someone or being frustrated with someone and thinking she's doing that. Look at where her glasses are right there. Oh my God, how could she not know that? I mean, they're right there where she put them. That's not a memory problem. And it's like, you're right. It's a visual processing problem. And vision, put your hand to the back of your brain, is handled by the occipital lobe, the back of your brain. That's where you process everything you see. So show me on this picture where we would find your eyeballs. Right here. So we're having to get stuff from your eyeballs all the way to the back of your brain. Wow. How do you think that happens? You think it's magic?
A lot of stuff happens between here and here.
It's called wiring. Those neurons we were talking about. And because this disease is neurodegenerative, and this whole thing is built out of neurons, all of it, including the ones that go from your eyes, from your ear, from your mouth, from your fingertips. Basically, we're put together with neurons and other stuff. But when it starts affecting this part, the central part of our system, it ultimately affects everything. But how it spreads matters. So, how did I use the poster this time?
You connected the thing here, one of the aspects, and gave a little bit more detail to show I'm a super visual learner. And so this just really helps connect for me.
Yeah. So if I wanted to run a class, a small group, let's say I work a lot with families, I might actually take these and put them in plastic sheets and get a couple copies of it. And what I would do is have a notebook and let people have a set of these while we're working and talking about what's going on. Or if I have a small group of employees. And why would I want them in either, put a protective coating on it or put them in a slip-in cover these days?
I could probably clean that a little bit easier than
the
paper.
Yeah, and these days with the life with COVID, I want to be able to use these over and over, but I want a couple sets in this case. What did Christine tell me about herself? She's a real strong
visual
learner.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But I also noticed something. She likes to handle stuff. I think she's a kinesthetic learner too. So how many times would I be handing her back and forth and handing them back and forth? Yeah. A lot.
Okay.
Yeah. So let's go to that idea that I have them in a notebook. If I had the notebook out in a space where you were sitting before the time that we got together, and you're a real strong visual learner and you're kinesthetic, what would that do before we even get together?
It would certainly make me curious to want to know more. And I would be looking to figure out if I could maybe read it and figure it out myself.
Yeah. So before you even come in, you may end up in a slightly different place than you were when you came to see me or came for the meeting or came for the group, because all of a sudden you were able to take some data in before we got there. Yeah. And maybe some of the fears that you had, or maybe some of the concerns that you want to raise, you might actually do your own cycle here. Now, Rachel, I know that you had a chat come in. So do you want to share something with that chat thing?
So someone was asking if the poster can be duplicated and can you give it to families?
So this is this gets so tricky for us. I mean, obviously, we try to keep the price down. We also want to be respectful for the work people are doing. So I'm going out on an edge here, and I'm going to say, if you have a family who's in need, and if you could black and white duplicate and say sample on it and say, if you ever get a chance, you might want to get your own set. We are not, if you do single posters kind of thing, you want to share this one poster with somebody because it's just really meaningful, I can guarantee you that we will not be coming after you with a lawyer to pursue anything. If you're basically wholesale copying everything and handing it out wholesale, then we probably would say, what? Wait, we need to talk, because we do try to keep the costs reasonable, and we are trying to make this available because we think it's a great resource that could be used. So does that answer the question? Yeah. So there we go. And you could let them know where they could get it, and how much it costs too, in case they want the whole set. So I've suggested a couple things so far. Let's check in and see what you all are picking up as far as how could you use this? How might you use this poster series other than just putting it up on the wall, one at a time, month after month? You just change it every, 3 weeks, 4 weeks. You just change it out and go through the series. I mean, you certainly could do that. Just post it up somewhere on a bulletin board or on the wall. You could just do it that way. What have I suggested so far we could try that was a little bit different?
You suggested sharing with families or even small group training. Taking 1 or 2.
Yeah. So rather than using it just as a poster, I would say it could be used as the start and content in a session that you can cover some material, or you could respond to a question. What is dementia? But we could also do something else. What else did I suggest with it? I had another suggestion. In a waiting area.
Having it out for folks who like to maybe be a little bit prepared or curious when they see something visual, pick it up and kind of prepare for your meeting.
Yeah, so it could be in a notebook. So people could go through the whole set of them or just look at 1 or 2 of them. What if in the waiting area, about at sitting height, about the right distance away? Now, we would want to make sure it's about the right distance away from where people sit. And we want it about the right height. So if they're seated, it's about the right place for them to have it in their. Put your arm out. Center field of visual information coming in. And, all you're able to see from where you're sitting is what is dementia. Now, if it's at central field for somebody sitting, what do we want to have nearby that they're going to be able to do to look at it up close?
A chair.
A chair, because otherwise we'll be having people doing this. Or, maybe you want them to squat down or, flex down or bend over. But what we might want to think about is height for mounting and distance for the eye for these posters. Do we want them to be looked at while people are standing or sitting? So here's a really interesting one. Where do most people need to spend some time sitting in order to meet a need? Now, I'm going to go to poster number, let me find it here. It's further back in the list. What do we need to survive? What does everybody need to survive? And take a look at the laundry list. I'll hold it up for us. What do we all need to survive?
I think Sarah's got it. She said, put it next to the body.
The porcelain throne. Yes, indeed. Because one of the times that we might have a few minutes, people have been doing this for a while now, putting interesting data or information on the back of the bathroom stall door. And for males, you might pick 2 places. You might pick the urinals, the wall where they stand to take a leak. And then you might take the stall where they sit to take a dump, because those 2 places, the peeing goes pretty quick. So you got to catch their eye and just make sure it's right in front of the various urinals, because if they have to look off to the side, you might find that they start aiming in the wrong direction while they're reading. You never know with these guys. But sitting on the pot, definitely elimination, getting rid of waste products, it takes you a little bit. And because you're meeting a need, we don't want you in distress. If you're meeting your need, you probably aren't going to be in a bad place because you're like sitting there anyway. You often take something in there. So let's think of some other places where you might be getting your needs met that we could put one of these things out there where, because you're getting your needs met, it might work out okay. So where might we put this content that would be another place that might be a place where we could get our needs met?
Maybe in a cafeteria, or if I'm waiting to get my medicine.
Yeah, so if I've got to sit for a bit in order to take something in, whether it's hydration, nourishment, maybe a cafe, I wonder what would happen if we put it as a stand-up. And this is where I would say, if you're basically, you don't have a lot of money, you're a cheap date, you could copy this thing for the back so that when you put it in a stand-up folder, you would have one on either side, so both of us could see the same thing. And it would be a stand-up poster on the table that while we're getting ready to get coffee, have a meal, it's like, oh, what do we all need to survive? So I've got a question for you. What do we all need to survive? Okay, and what we could do is have it turned so we just put on the back here just the top words. What do you need to survive? Come up with 5 critical needs that all humans have. And so our conversation starts with just the question. So you post the question on the back. These 2 posters are together, except for the question. What do we need to survive? What are the top 5 things humans must do to survive?
Using it as an activity starter or a conversation starter or mind jogger or something.
Yeah, so we could actually put this thing in the break room or in a cafeteria or in a dining space once in a while to encourage people to have these conversations. Mm-hmm. So I will use my magic. So I'm going to have you get your handy handout, because I use 5 a lot, because do this. That's how many a human brain can hold on to. They can hold on to 5 to 8 things at a time, called working memory, until they can't, which is where the poster comes in handy. Because even if you can't hold on to it, it'll give you a hint. So let's try this. I'll give you a visual and see if this helps you. The first thing that all humans must do is take things in. If we don't take things in, we won't survive. So you could put in there hydration and nourishment, and for many people, medications or supplements or whatever else you need to put in there to keep going. As we age, sometimes those things change. Ooh, the second thing that we need, do this. Energy up. Do this. Energy down. Do this. Energy up. Do this. Energy down. Now do it like this. We all must have wake time and sleep time, and wake time and sleep time. And so a circadian rhythm. We all must have wake time and sleep time. If all we do is sleep and sleep and sleep, we can't nourish and hydrate. We aren't going to survive very long. So if someone is in a state where they cannot care for themselves anymore, we need to realize we are going to have to bring them to alertness every now and then and make sure they are alert so they'll be safe to eat and drink and possibly take in some medications. But if people are not able to get any sleep, that's dangerous. Humans must recharge batteries, heal, recover. Yeah. Oh, and the third thing everybody's got to do this. If you took stuff in, there's leftovers. You got to put it out. It's called elimination. We got to eliminate stuff. So when we're eating and drinking, sometimes we get extra saliva. You got to figure out what to do with it. You're going to swallow it. You're going to spit it. I don't know. When you brush your teeth, even, you'll get extra, just so you know. But we also have snot, stuff that comes out of your nose. We have, of course, urine and feces. Everybody's familiar with those. We also have fingernails that grow off the ends of our fingers, and then we have the same thing off the ends of your toes. I mean, you don't need them anymore. It's They're extra. So you've got to figure out how you're going to eliminate them. And if you don't have somebody to help you eliminate them as you develop dementia, yeah. Even what we do is we get too hot. What do we do when we get too hot, guys?
Yeah.
We sweat.
Glow.
Yeah, we sweat. We don't glow. We sweat. Why do we always dress it up with something that isn't? I mean, we sweat. We have sweat glands. That's why we have them. Palms. When we get nervous, what do? Ooh, we sweat. What we're doing is getting rid of some of that anxiety. When you sweat, it's the goal is like, ew. But that idea of we eliminate things in order to survive. Anybody who's ever had a bowel that was blocked up, or if males have prostate problems, we can have issues here. Now, we've got two more strong ones, powerful ones. All humans seek to find comfort. If we can't find comfort, we will not survive. We cannot be uncomfortable all the time. And then finally, when it gets really bad, all humans seek to eliminate pain. We want to be out of pain. Nobody wants to be in pain. Physical, emotional, physical, down across your tummy, over your heart, emotional pain, or bigger than that, spiritual pain. So, Christine, when you look at this poster, let me bring it in again.
Yep.
What's that first thing you see right under what do we need? What do we all need to survive?
Unmet needs lead to distress.
Okay, so when you have an unmet need, you'll get distressed.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so let's see what's that next thing.
Look beyond the emotional distress to figure out the need. Look beyond the emotional distress.
So we've been having trouble with so-and-so eating. They're not eating very much.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe we could look at the other areas to see maybe why they're not eating very much, because we're offering, they're not eating very much though. I wonder if there's an unmet need, which is making it hard for them to want to take more things in. Now, what does the poster become?
Almost like an assessment tool.
Oh, so now I can get you to look at this and go, so when you have unmet needs, you get distressed. Who's getting distressed because you're not eating?
You or me?
You, me, or both of us. Yeah. So now let's see. One of our first steps, rather than trying to make you eat, which will result in what? If I try to make you eat, take a bite. Christine, open. Christine, I'm going to get the syringe.
That makes me even more distressed and angry almost.
Yeah. So what might I be wanting to check out? Okay, let me show you. Let's go over to comfort.
Mm-hmm.
What's it say under comfort?
Liking or not liking sensations, surfaces, social situations, or settings.
So Rachel, what might be the issue that I haven't noticed? Now I'm going to show you this one right up here. Really strong and powerful. It's way down there at the bottom. What does that say?
Don't forget to look in the mirror, because sometimes we are the one with an unmet need.
So does me wanting her to eat, is that her unmet need or my unmet need?
Well, it makes me curious, because I'm wondering, it seems to me that you're definitely having some distress over the fact that she's not eating. Mm-hmm. So it makes me kind of wonder why it is and what's going on and maybe what's happening with her and why she's not eating.
Mm-hmm. So it sounds like maybe her not eating is painful to me. I wonder if she's uncomfortable or if it's just me that's uncomfortable. Now, if she's uncomfortable, one of the things I might notice is either maybe something I could go look at her elimination patterns. I could look at her when am I scheduling this? Is it a good match for when she's maybe hungry or alert or awake or has really good energy? Or could it be maybe what I'm trying to do, what I'm trying to get her to eat or drink is not what she's interested in? Or I wonder if it's how I'm trying. So I'm going to pause again. What did I do that time?
You're looking at this, trying to put some puzzle pieces together to figure out this is a situation that I'm seeing, but what's really causing? Some people may call it behavior. This is what I'm seeing, but what's really the underlying unmet need? Yeah. And is it yours or is it mine?
So I could actually use this as part of a consulting or a consult cycle or a consulting cycle or a way to help somebody look in the mirror. And so this series of posters, I mean, we've got this wide range of possibilities. Under that umbrella, I'm going to point out that we have this really extensive list of some of the more common symptoms that come with Alzheimer's or Lewy body or frontal temporal or vascular. And so what it does is it allows us to notice some things. And you could do this as a solo individual, nobody watching you do it yourself. Or it could become something that we look at and then we get together and talk about and discuss. It could be something that triggers a question that I would then want to bring forward, or I could use it actually in an interaction where somebody could say, so we're not sure whether what we're looking at maybe with your mom is Lewy body or Alzheimer's. Let's take a look and see which of those two. Go ahead and look at those. Which of those two seems more like what you're noticing? Okay. So now I know I didn't give you a chance to read the whole thing. But once again, this could serve for people who are visually oriented, word oriented, a great resource to launch a conversation that otherwise might be sort of oh, wait, I think there was a thing for that. Uncomfortable, might result in distress. By allowing people to take a look at something like this poster, if they have something they want to talk about, I could share this out. So when you looked at this poster, was there anything on here that you hadn't thought about when you think about what you're doing right now in your care routine? Especially, noticing how are you doing? Looking in the mirror. How comfortable are you with? Tell me what you still like about the person you're trying to help. Tell me what you like about your life right now. Wow. Not bad for just like 15 posters, hey? All right, so now I'm going to get curious. In what ways have other people found that they have been able to maybe use one or more of these posters? Now we're going to come back to one or two when we wrap up, but I'm just curious. I want to ask the question and give people a chance to share out what maybe you have found out that was helpful in using the poster sets. So Christine, I know you do a fair amount of work. Was there anything that you have come across?
Yes, just going back to unmet needs and distress, almost using this in the beginning to help with a living care plan in conjunction with maybe the me sheet. We haven't talked about that today, different topic, but in the beginning, as I'm talking with somebody.
Okay, so Christine, you're doing a marvelous job. Our challenge is your microphone is being really nasty to us. And we don't know why. Emilio, is it nasty to you too, or just me?
No, for me too. Sounds a little garbled.
It was sort of okay so far, but then all of a sudden this last time it got really bad. It just sort of, you sounded tinny before, but now you sound sort of confusing. I am so sorry it's happening, because I know that's not what you meant. And it's making people uncomfortable because they can't understand you. So I opted to make you uncomfortable, because I didn't think it was helpful to let you keep talking when we weren't able to understand. Oh, wait. So now let's go back to living with dementia. In that moment, what did I opt to share with Christine? Rachel, you want to help us out?
Well, you told her that it's not working.
I am so sorry this is not working. Did I blame Christine?
No, it was her microphone.
Oh, it was her microphone. And, in this case, I actually think it was her microphone. But it might have been that her words weren't making a lot of sense. But was she really trying to communicate?
Oh, yes.
Yeah, she really was. But I couldn't figure out what she was trying to say exactly. And I knew it might be important to the other people around. And I had a feeling many of them wouldn't have been able to figure it out either. And then what would have happened to the people around Christine, even though she was the one that was having trouble coming up with the words to be clear and sharp and crisp? She was the one having trouble. What would we find with everybody around her?
Everybody else is feeling nervous and uncomfortable.
And what are they waiting for somebody to do? But, and what might somebody do with less skill than I did? What do you think they might do? Come on, you guys out there. You've been on enough webinars. What do you do?
Yeah, Tiva, you did compliment her on her previous speaking.
Yeah. So what might somebody... We can't understand anything she's saying. I don't know what I'm supposed to get out of this. I don't even understand what she's trying to say. Now, we're playing around here and it's a webinar, but I wish people would be not doing that when people live with dementia. But unfortunately, she's not making any sense. What she's doing is illogical. It doesn't, it's like, So apparently they need help in their survival mode because they're exhibiting a lot of distress, but they're blaming the person living with dementia for not trying, when in fact, early on, we identified, wow, but the challenge is, this thing right here, this really complicated thing, it's just not working there so well anymore. Man, but there are some things that are working. Christine had a nice rhythm. We just couldn't quite figure it out. So Rachel, let's see what happens this time, Christine. Try talking this time. Let's see if it gets any better, if we just need to give you a pass.
I wonder if this is any better for you.
Oh, it's a lot better for me.
Oh, great. It was the way you supported me that really helped me be able to reconnect.
Oh, cool. And I bet it was technology that you used once your brain realized that what you were doing wasn't working.
Oh, I tried.
Oh, man. Oh, dear. All right. So, Rachel, we'll give Christine a moment to gather her thoughts about what she has done with the poster set and see if anybody else out there had any ideas for us, because we know we've gotten a few things in, but I'm curious what people out in the world outside have come up with. Any thoughts from our audience at all?
So we haven't really heard a lot from our audience as far as what they have used these for.
Okay. So they haven't really come up with much of anything.
Right. No, not yet.
All right. Well, we'll give it to them. We'll give them a chance. Let's look at these two posters. And I'm going to go ahead and hold them up close and personal for you. I'm just going to show you the top part first. Let me see if I can sneak it so you can just see the top part. All right. So how do these guys relate? Delirium, depression, anxiety, and dementia. How do they relate? What are you noticing on this one? And it used to be, I would tell you 10 years ago, 5 years ago, 3 years ago, we were just saying the 3 Ds, DDD, delirium, depression, dementia. In our world, we added an A. Why did we add the A?
Anxiety can be treatable.
Anxiety can also be treatable. If we look at the 2D, D and A, depression and anxiety, where do you notice they are?
They're on the same side.
Oh, so depression and anxiety, what we see is a continuum. And we may see a combination, depression and then anxiety. Are they connected? Are they two ends of a spectrum? You're hyper anxious or you're really depressed, or a combination. And what's the overlap? Dementia plus delirium. All right. So what do we got on the bottom of this page?
These are some specific things to know about all of them.
Yeah. So we have a great big stop sign that says, stop, look, and listen. In other words, time for an evaluation or an assessment of what's going on here. Yeah, you're absolutely right, Gary. Which one came first? But if we got a mix, they can be similar. They can frequently happen. Some are fixable or some are not. People with dementia can have all of them happening at the same time or at different times, and they all have different causes and consequences. And because of that, we didn't stop there. We actually then did the next page, which is what should we do for each condition? So what's going to be helpful for each of these conditions to share with any kind of provider? And if we think back to our unmet needs, met needs, and distress, All right. So what kind of things, Rachel, have people been saying?
Yeah, so some people sent in some things of how they've been using these. Cheryl's been using or will be using it as a one-on-one teaching tool when she meets with families because she's a geriatric care manager.
Cool.
And Joan says, I've used it in orientation of new employees in their dementia community.
Yep, cool.
Barb said she still needs to translate it into Italian, but she would like to use it in consulting and would put it in the neurologist waiting room.
Perfect.
Don said he will be using them in their new caregiver orientation class for their family caregiver support program.
Okay, I'm going to be running a support group. Okay, I'm wondering, on my group, how many of you are on the negative side of the street as far as your emotions go? All right, what I'm going to have you do is I'm going to give each of you a sticky note, and I want you to put it where you think you fit most of the time. So we're going to take a look at where you are when we start the session. We're going to see where you feel like you are at the end of the session. Because I could do that support group whether I was working with somebody living with dementia, some professionals, or family members. So what's going on here? What are you noticing about yourself? Because sometimes emotions are really about unmet need. So, those are examples. So what we've been doing during our time together is showing you some of the posters and showing you then how I might use some of the posters. And then you guys were telling us how you might use some posters. What's really curious is as you look through this laundry list of all these posters, there are a couple kind of categories that we haven't talked about. I'm going to go ahead and show you this one. What's your first thought as you look at this after the stuff we've talked about so far?
It's a little bit of a different focus for me.
Yeah. So some of the earlier ones we've been covering are building your awareness and knowledge. Mm-hmm. What is this poster about?
This is about maybe how I can respond. It's one that I have taped up above my computer. I use it every day as a cheat sheet.
So this is a cue for yourself when things aren't working, when somebody's in distress. Maybe it's not like you're saying, I didn't do anything wrong, but wow, they're real in distress. Man, I hate that. I hate that happened. I mean, wow, that shouldn't have happened to anybody. You're such a nice person. I hate that it happened to you. Man, I'm wondering, trying to help, is there anything we could try? Because boy, it sounds like you're in a really rough spot. Oh, hey, Christine, how about if we try this? Yeah. Huh. So we actually have 1, 2, 3 of these posters that are for sure focused on developing some skills, just basic skills, how to make a positive personal connection. Creating a positive personal connection helps you help them. Or positive action starters. Do you want to go to lunch? Are you ready for your shower? What do you want to drink? Instead, here's some alternatives. Now, at the top, you'll notice the why behind trying these things. So, Rachel, what was the why that you notice up there? Why would you try these things?
Well, if you ask a yes or no question, then you basically increase your odds of getting a no, or them not understanding and saying yes and then not understanding what that was. And now you have a miscommunication.
Yeah. Ooh. So, Christine. I've got coffee. You?
Don't have anything.
Nothing?
Yeah.
Oh, no. Hey, Christine. Come on, let's go see if we can't get something for you.
Thank you so much.
You are welcome. All right, so on this one page, we have possibilities. So how might we use this? Let's say we did a class, we did a session. What might this be for somebody?
Something to practice.
It could. Hey, Christine, have you got a pen?
Oh, I do have that.
Okay, so on your thumb, write the word info.
Info.
Okay, on your index finger, option. This or that. Ooh, middle finger. But let's make it like this. We're going to try something. Let's try. Not you need to do something, but let's try something. How about we try? Then this one, help me. Can you help me? Could you possibly help me for a few minutes? And then finally, steps. So I need to think about things in steps.
Well, I like that.
All right. So now let's try what you have on your index finger.
Option.
Okay. So it's time for me to get up out of my chair. I've been there a while.
Okay. Tifa,
Yeah.
it's hot in here.
Oh, I'm fine.
Would you like to change your shirt?
Huh?
Huh? Trying to get you to come with me to change your shirt.
I'm fine.
Ooh,
Hey,
I like your shirt, Tifa.
this one?
Uh-huh. That one.
Yeah.
It looks like maybe there's a little bit of something right there.
No, well, that's the undershirt. I have two of them on.
What about the outside one?
That one, that's the blue one.
That's the blue one. That undershirt, it looks so pretty.
It looks pretty.
Good.
It's green.
It's green.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm wondering, Tifa, would you like to stay where you are and be comfortable, or come with me and try some music in the music class?
Well, I'm real comfortable where I am.
You're real comfortable where you are.
Look at your hand, Christine. What could you try instead?
Oh, so this is my cheat sheet. And I even forgot it was here.
So this one, because Christine told me she was a real strong visual learner and she's sort of kinesthetic, what did I have to get her to do when she sort of got stuck? Look what you got. You're carrying it around right there with you. Huh. Check.
You really had to help me.
I know. You sort of got stuck, huh?
You know what? I got stuck on this project in my office. Can you help me?
Well, I could try.
I really need a lot of help.
Well, that's what I hear.
Yeah.
I hear you're sort of incompetent about stuff like that.
Can you help me figure that out?
Well, I'll do my best, but you're not the brightest stick in a wood pile.
Not the brightest stick in a wood pile.
All right, we'll pause here. Oh my. So we're going to pause, but once again, what you saw is this becomes my jumping off point. And what's nice about these posters is we tried to load them with enough stuff on each one that you can take it in so many different directions. So the middle finger, this one that nobody likes, is let's try. Because it doesn't mean that we'll succeed. It does mean we're going to try something. Oh, hey, Christine, could we try something?
Yeah, we could try something.
Okay, I'm going to ask you to ask me, Tipa, would you rather have coffee or something else to drink?
Tifa, would you rather have coffee or something else to drink?
Okay, which finger did I just ask you to use?
The index finger.
Sure enough, which one was I using?
But you're asking me to try something.
Yeah, so in combination, and I gave you a little bit of information. Coffee or something else? Oh, you know what? Why don't we go brew a fresh batch?
That's best.
Okay, tell you what, pull your feet back. Which one was that?
Step.
Baby step. Pull your feet back. All right. We've gone right up to the time. I am wondering, do you have some ways that you might be able to use these posters that you didn't think about, or ways that you did think about, but I played with in a way that maybe you hadn't thought of? Well, we hope that you figure out things to do with these posters that make a difference in people's lives. And if you find something that works well for you, please share it back with us. And if you find something doesn't work, let us know that as well. If, when you looked at this presentation and you look at these posters, you have questions, you know what? Ask. Because the best way for us to know we need to do something different, more, or whatever, is going to be for you to give us feedback, because we thrive on feedback. It helps us get better, be better, and do more of what you're looking for. So just so you know, this is the end of our webinar. This is being recorded. And as soon as Emilio, the master person who's in charge of the webinar, gets a chance to upload this, he will make sure everybody who signed up for this free webinar, and anytime somebody buys the product in the future, you would get an access code for this webinar. And you can actually look at it ahead of time now that we have it done, once we get it up on any product that we've already done so far this year. So once a month, we are reviewing some products that people might have and want to know more about how I use them, we use them, you could use them. So I hope you had a great time. Hope you got something from it. And I hope as well that you find new ways to use these that we haven't even thought of yet. Hopefully not for toilet paper, and hopefully not just for taking notes on the back. That would not be the best use of the resource, I don't think, although you never know. All right, everybody. If we find the cure, maybe you could get rid of some of these, John, but till then, I'd hang on to them. Take care, everybody.